Yes, yes, yes. God bless you. You're still tuned in to GODRadio1.com. You're rocking with Evangel and Walter Cole for your midday music mix. Thank you so much for joining us today. Walter Cole made it safely. I'm so glad you're here, bro. How you doing?
I am blessed, and I apologize for being late, but praise God I made it.
Yes, we're happy that you made it too. I saw Carrie Cole's name pop up in the feed. I said, Carrie, we're waiting on your husband. I hope he's coming safely. So thank you so much. I just thank God for being able to bring you here safely because I know it's so much of a commute for you as well.
Oh, it's all good. Blessed to do it and blessed to be here. Blessed for this next interview.
Yes, yes. And he is actually on the line in a moment. We're going to bring him up. I had an opportunity to hear his music, and I was blown away, first of all, because you know I love stuff that's got you up dancing, right?
Right.
I love stuff that's very, it's got a nice beat to it, nice bass line, and it's got a lot of good stuff to it. So when I listened to the track the first time I heard it, I said, okay, who is this?
Banging.
I had to look at his name again, and I was like, wait a minute. I really liked his sound. I liked his style. And so I'm really glad that he reached out to us as well. And we have an opportunity to learn more about him because as I delve into his background, I was really surprised. I said, this is an educator. Okay.
Wow.
Yes.
He
Got some layers to him. Layers to him. So I'm so thankful that we have him today on the Midday Music Mix with Walter Cole and myself. This is Gospel on Demand Radio, GODRadio1.com. I want to introduce to many of you who probably already know him because he's been in the music industry for over 9 years, I believe. And I want to introduce you all to this independent recording artist by the name of Martez Gerard. How you doing, bro?
I'm fantastic. How are you all?
Absolutely blessed.
Amen.
And we're so excited to have you as our special guest today.
It's an honor and a privilege to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
Yes. Why don't you tell us what area you're in right now?
I reside in Albany, Georgia, which is in Southwest Georgia. We're about an hour north of Tallahassee, Florida,
Woo,
and about 2.5 hours south of Atlanta.
I don't know nothing about no Tallahassee. Nothing about it. How's the weather there right now?
It's very pleasant. It's cool. It's brisk because we're used to very, very hot weather, hot and humid. So it's a blessing to see 50 degrees, 40 degrees. So it's yes, we're enjoying it.
Amen. Well, we're going to get into this interview. Again, you are interviewing with Evangel and my co-host Walter Cole. And we've had an opportunity to do a little bit more research about you. But for the artists and the people who are tuned in on our social media page, again, for those of you that are listening live on the app or online, we're on GODRadio1.com. And you can also watch this interview happening now on our Facebook page, GODRadio1.com. Now, Martez, Lord have mercy, Jesus, Albany, Georgia, right?
Yes.
What I read in your bio is I read that you also grew up in a single parent household. So I kind of want to go back to your childhood and what that was like for you as a young man growing up without your father in your life or just growing up in a single parent household.
Okay. So I was raised by my mother. I was always a very creative kid. I was always doing some type of performance, whether it was dancing, singing, acting, all of those kinds of things. So, and my mom was very intentional about cultivating those gifts. She entered me into my first public speaking competition when I was 5 years old.
Wow, 5.
Yeah.
Public speaking.
Yeah, and that sparked, and I actually won that contest, and it sparked a love for speaking and being in front of people at an early age. And I continued on competing in those types of competitions until I was 21 years old.
Wow.
And I only lost one.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And that was something that you tapped into at 5 and just continued to do 5.
Yes, wow. Yes. And then with music, music has always been a part of my life. I grew up in a musical family, from my maternal grandmother, all my aunts, my cousins, everybody sings or plays instruments. So that was kind of the inevitable for me to be a part of that. I've been singing as long as I could talk. So that's just always been a part of my life. My mom was very, very adamant about education as well. She ensured that I Did not become a statistic, as unfortunately a lot of Black males
Yes.
do who come from single parent households, but education was always number one. So I was always an honors gifted student from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. Went on to college, was the first on my maternal side of the family to graduate from college. And then I went on to earn my master's degree and a specialist degree as well. So yeah, it wasn't your stereotypical being reared in a single parent household. Of course, you know, there are always challenges. Of course, everyone has things they have to overcome, but I was very blessed to have a very, very strong and hardworking mother who set a very good example.
We also know that you're an educator right now, right?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, so I am in my 12th year of education. I started out I actually started out as a middle school reading teacher, and then I transitioned to elementary, and I did that for about 5 years. And then from there, I transitioned to being an academic coach, an instructional technology specialist, an assistant principal, and now I'm currently a school improvement specialist. So I'm helping to turn around a failing middle school currently.
Wow, that is amazing.
That's wild.
So let me ask you, with dealing with the children, do they know that you're a recording artist?
This is my first year working with the middle school, so a lot of those kids. Well, I do have some of them that were my students in elementary who are now in the middle school who know, but the majority of them don't. And especially with COVID, like most of the school year has been virtual. So we haven't really been able to really engage like I've had in the past. But when the school where I was assistant principal was actually a performing arts elementary school.
Wow.
So all of those kids were into music and performance. So they thought it was really, really cool that their assistant principal was performing, you know, across the country and recording music and all of that stuff. So they would always show me where they saw me on YouTube or they saw me on Facebook, and they would be so excited. So it was a blessing for me to be able to be that living, breathing example that it doesn't matter where you come from, you can always fulfill your dreams.
Now, we see that your mom was a heavy influence for education. Who are some of your musical influences growing up?
That is a loaded question because I love all forms of music. Of course, I started out, I'm classically trained, so that was the first. Well, it wasn't my first experience. My first experience with music was gospel, of course, in the church. But then as I matriculated through school, I started studying classical music, and one of my strongest teachers, his name is Dr. Leroy Bynum. He was actually my college voice teacher, and he pushed me because going into college, I thought that I was a baritone bass because that's what I sang, and he pushed me to be a first tenor. So I'm so grateful for him seeing that gift inside of me and really pushing me to get outside of my comfort zone. So he's definitely a huge influence. But as far as artists are concerned, Stevie Wonder, I love Stevie Wonder. I love, and this is such a hard question for me.
I'm sorry.
There's so many. So Stevie Wonder, I love Eric Benet. Is an amazing voice. John Legend, of course. Then on the gospel side, of course, we have Donnie McClurkin, of course. But then you have Ty Tribbett, who I love his music. And new artist, Pastor Mike Jr., I'm loving what he's doing. His sound is amazing. So yeah, there's so many artists. I can't even begin to make the list smaller, condense the list because they're just hundreds of them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Of course.
Wow. Well, we love to ask artists that question because we always want to know what contributed to their style. You know, I listened to your style, so it's no surprise to me that you would like Pastor Mike Jr. because his stuff is banging.
Right.
Yes.
So it's yours, though, by the way. I know that
that
you didn't start out as an independent artist. You've been singing also with Patrick Lundy and the Ministers of Music. How did that all happen? How does that all come together?
So Patrick Lundy and the Ministers of Music, that group is based in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
But little known fact is that Patrick is originally from Southwest Georgia.
Oh,
Really?
wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. He was he was born and raised in Thomasville, Georgia, which is an hour away from Albany.
Oh, wow.
So in 2013, he came home. He had some family things going on, and he decided that he wanted to establish a Georgia connection to the DC ministers. So he established a almost like a sister choir in Georgia. So I auditioned, and the rest is history. And so I'm one of the founding members of the Georgia Connection of Patrick Lundy and the Ministers of Music.
Wow. You said founding members.
Yeah, one of the originals.
That's awesome. We have definitely enjoyed his music ministry over the years as well. And, you know, this brings us now from having all of this history with the group and you also being an independent artist. Are you still singing with Patrick Lundy? Or are you totally independent and solo?
No, we're still singing. We actually have an awesome single that's out that's doing pretty well. It's actually number 24 on Billboard right now. Waymaker. So that was a very, very fun song, very upbeat, very inspirational. So yes, definitely still singing.
Awesome. Now, for our listeners, like I said, there are layers to Martez. You all are hearing, and we're just scratching the surface because when I also went onto your website, I also discovered that you have this awesome book. You're an author, too. An author.
That's correct.
Okay. And when I looked at the name of the book, I saw the acronym SOAR, and I said, okay.
Yes.
And when I looked a little bit further into the name, I said, now, that's an interesting title for a book. Can you tell our listeners the title of the book and what made you come up with the name for a book like that?
Absolutely. So SOAR is an acronym for Successfully Overcoming Artificial Restrictions. And the premise behind that is the idea that the only thing that can stop me from being great is my own perspective.
Yes.
So the way that I see things is how they will be in my life. So if I see them as a negative, that's exactly where they're going to be. But if I see them as positive or as stepping stones that will help to strengthen me and to help me to grow and develop, that's exactly what's going to happen. So within that book, I was very, very transparent about experiences that I've had, triumphs, disasters, heartaches, troubles, successes. All of those I shared in this book as a personal development guide or almost a daily devotional, if you will, that talks about several different topics. So there's 100 topics in this particular book, and each topic is one page. So maybe a paragraph or two where I discuss, like one of the very first topics is forgiveness. So I talk about in there where I had to really look at my life and see what was really stopping me from being successful. And it was the unforgiveness that I had in my heart against my father. Wow. I met my biological father when I was 26 years old.
Wow.
I am 34 today.
Wow.
So having that conversation with him and that engagement and that interaction really helped me to understand that I was blocking my progress. I was stopping myself by being angry, by being bitter, by being, frustrated and taking it out on other people. And that unforgiveness really stopped me from truly being successful. So it wasn't really a restriction, but I made it a restriction. So that's where that artificial comes in. So being able to look at life from a different perspective and from a different viewpoint to help you to be able to achieve your dreams.
Wow. And how can people get your book right now?
Yes, it's available, of course, on my website, martezgerard.com, but it's also available on Barnes & Noble. It's on Amazon. You can get it on iBooks. So anywhere books are sold, you can find it.
Wow. Now, Martez, I also discovered on your social media page that you love to sing and do these little selfie videos. right?
Uh-oh.
I said, this brother is blowing. And, I'm starting to see a lot of people starting to, well, I shouldn't say they started to do it, but I noticed it more and more, especially during the quarantine when the pandemic
Yes,
really hit. I noticed people trying to find creative ways to encourage people because everybody that wasn't on social media, they is now. If they didn't have a
absolutely.
social media page, they got one now. And
Absolutely.
there were, so many parents that had a negative view about social media and how much their kids were spending on there. Now the parents got accounts as well. But these
Right.
were some of the ways in which the artists were able to stay connected with their fan base and their followers when all of their concerts got canceled. Jobs, were lost. So much has happened since the quarantine and the pandemic. And unfortunately, we're not all the way out the woods yet. We're on the second round of this pandemic being worse than it was when it first started out. So for you doing these creative videos and things like that, can you give me the motivation behind why you do that and how important was it for you to use your social media page to stay connected with your fan base?
Yes. So that's exactly what it was during the pandemic, especially the first part. We were one of the first states to kind of lock down and shut down back in March. So during that quarantine time and that time being in the house, I wasn't able to really use my outlet of music and singing because I was, like I said, in the house, like literally on lockdown. So I'm the minister of music at my church, Raymond Word Cathedral in Albany, Georgia. So I was used to, leading praise and worship on Sundays, being in church on Tuesdays, being in rehearsals, doing all of those kinds of things. And it just wasn't happening for me. And after a few weeks, it started to really bother me. I was like, I'm not singing. I feel some type of way about this.
Right.
So I started just literally, just to get a break, I would go and sit in the car, just really sit in the car and just, get some fresh air and just kind of relax. And I just started singing.
Yeah.
And one day I recorded it and I posted it and people were just commenting on it. They were like, oh my gosh, thank you for doing this. This really blessed me. So I just kept doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow. I have to admit myself, I thoroughly enjoyed those and watching those. And I said, wow, he's really tipping the scale with his range as well, because your range is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I could also tell that you love to dress. So can we get a little bit into your style? You know what I'm saying? Is this you dressing yourself? Do you have a stylist? How we put this whole look together?
Well, there's a combination. Well, this shirt here, of course, and this is on my website as well. But that's the shirt for my single. But it's a combination of both. I do have a stylist who is actually one of my college buddies. So we actually have known each other for a very long time. And our styles are very similar. But he helps me when I overthink, because I tend to overthink things and I tend to be very, very meticulous about details. He's like, man, don't worry about it. I got it here. Put this on, keep it moving. And we're not dealing with that. But shout out to Corey Hackett with Work Hard, Dress Well is his company.
Yes. And you guys also saw the fact that he is modeling one of his very own T-shirts. What that T-shirt say again?
Yes, I'm just here to get my stuff.
Yes, I'm just here to get my stuff, which is the title of his single, you all. But before we talk about that single, I want to delve into your personal life just a bit. We got a lot of ladies that are viewing right now, and I don't want to assume that you are single, but can you tell us, are you single? Are you married, divorced? Do you have children? What's going on in your personal life?
Single, no kids.
Single and no kids. Okay, now let me ask you this. Do you want to be married and do you want kids?
Yeah, I do, actually. And it's surprising that I'm saying that, because if you would ask me that a couple of years ago, the answer would have been absolutely not.
Uh-oh, you said absolutely not. Would have been, right? Why? What would have been the reason for that?
I have a lot of nieces and nephews.
Okay.
I mean, a ton of them. And they always look to Uncle Martez, especially in his pockets. So, yeah, so that was. But now they are older. I have a few of them are in college now. Some of them actually have their own kids now. So, yeah, it's a different perspective now that I can, have my own money and, kind of live my own life. So yeah, I do want to be married and I do want to have kids.
So right now you don't have to share your life with anybody. You can pick up and go whenever you want to, right?
Right, that part.
Yeah. And yeah, there is going to come a time where, settling down seems to be right for you. You said you're 34 years old, which to me is still very young. And when the pandemic and the quarantine does turn a corner to where everybody is able to get back to what they think life to be as normal, that means your touring schedule and your singing schedule and all the activities that you used to be involved in, that means you pick up that schedule again as well. And you'll have
Correct.
to create time for a wife and kids, right?
Exactly. So, and that's what kind of makes it easier to being single, being able to live that kind of very hectic lifestyle and being able to pick up and go at the drop of a dime. And I think parenting, fatherhood, and even being in a marriage and a relationship is very important. And I think taking the time to cultivate those relationships is extremely important. That's
Absolutely.
something I learned even growing up as a kid, how important, parents being there and being able to be a part of all the aspects of a child's life. I think that's extremely important. And
Absolutely.
even seeing that as an educator, kids love to have the attention and the affirmation of adults. They love to feel secure. They love to feel valued. They love to feel important. And that's difficult when parents are absent.
You got that.
So that's another reason why I wanted to be very, very intentional that when I do get married and have kids, that I'm able to be there and be an active part of their lives.
That's for real. As a parent, you know what I'm saying, having two kids, you are absolutely right. That's some wise words from a non-parent, but an educator.
That's right. That's
for real.
right.
A
You're
lot of nieces and nephews.
Yeah, man. You're reminding me. I'm like, I gotta repent and go home real quick. But anyways, Martez, let's switch gears. Let's talk about your new single with Carrie the Dreamer.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Let's talk about it. My stuff. Talk about how the single came about. Writing, production, the whole 9 yards.
Okay. So my stuff, along with the other songs on my up and coming EP, were all birthed in church. Like they were all prophetic songs. So, and the funny thing about my stuff, when it was actually released, this was November of 2019. So November of last year, we were celebrating my pastor's birthday. And one of his friends who's a pastor in Florida came and did a sermon for his birthday celebration. And the title of his sermon was, "I'm just here to give my stuff," literally. So after the sermon is over, typically how our church flows is once the sermon is over, we kind of have a prophetic flow and altar call and all of that. And we usually sing, prophetic songs and things of that nature. So I was really struggling that day because I was like, my stuff, like what in the world am I going to sing about with that title? So fortunately his band came with him, and so they were playing and they were flowing, and his music director mouthed the chorus, "I'm just here to get my stuff, everything God has for me," to me. And I'm looking at him like, what do you want me to do with that? Like, what these lyrics, what am I supposed to do? So it took me about a good 30 to 45 seconds to respond.
Okay.
And then so I just opened my mouth and started singing, and the melody just came.
Yeah.
And it caught like wildfire. Like the response was just mind blowing. And so, and I actually have a video clip of that. I'll have to send that to y'all so y'all can see it. So the response was crazy. So after that, I kind of forgot about it. I didn't really think about it anymore until maybe January of this year. And so I sat down and I prayed, and like the lyrics just started coming. So I just started writing. So I wrote the verse, I wrote the bridge, all of that prior to even having a producer. So I was just writing. Like I thought about vaguely possibly recording it, but it wasn't a major thing for me because I really didn't have, access, directly, other than, people who charge a whole lot of money. Of course, as an
Right.
independent artist and an educator, my budget isn't that expensive.
Okay.
So a blessing occurred, and this has been a crazy year for me, crazily blessed year for me. So take a step back. New Year's Eve of 2019, we released the song "Big" by Pastor Mike Jr. That was our main song for the service. So we sang that. God's about to blow our minds, and we just kept, declaring that, and that was kind of our mantra for the year. So God is amazing in that way. In February of 2019, Pastor Mike Jr. actually was the guest artist at a friend of mine's live recording, which I was singing on. So I actually got to meet him in February, which really sparked the actually pursuit of really recording this song. So things just started falling into place. So I reached out to a producer. His name's Raymond Darius Jackson. He's here in Middle Georgia, in Perry, Georgia. And I told him what I was trying to do, and he was like, "Of course, I'll help you." I was like, "What?" I was like, "You don't even know me, but you're willing to help." So we started working on the project. He actually wrote the second verse.
Okay.
And he added the hook, the "I'm Gonna Get It" part to it. Yeah. So we recorded he laid down the instrumentation around March, and then COVID happened.
Yeah.
So I wasn't able to record anything. So everything was on halt. So then we revisited it in June. So I was able to record my vocals in June, and we finished the song. And I was like, you know what? I really want to have a rap feature on it.
Right.
And Ray was like, say less. So he literally called Carrie while we were in the studio. I had never met Carrie before in my life. And Carrie agreed on the spot to be on the track.
Wow.
So then he wrote his verse, recorded it, and the rest is history.
Yeah. That's one thing I love about collaborations is when you bring artists together on one cut, whether it's a producer that you've never worked with before or a rap artist or another singer, you know what I'm saying? I believe there is a type of magic that happens, but there's also a special grace that God puts on collaborations. And then you've also got Carrie's following and your following combined together now behind this one single track called My Stuff.
Absolutely.
And gosh, like I said, the first time I heard the track, the beat came on. I love interesting intros, first of all, because the intro is what grabbed my attention. I said, okay, wait a minute. What he about to do? And then when it just came in, I was like, oh my God, I love it. I love it. I love it. I also saw a post. I believe it was you and your niece. Is that your niece? That's dancing with you. And you guys are dancing Jayla. And she's singing the song and everything like that. I said, this is
Uncle
definitely
Martez's
a banger.
biggest fan.
Say it again.
She's Uncle Martez's biggest fan.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah. She might actually have music.
Beautiful.
She probably got music in her future as well because you are an inspiration to her. All of your nieces and nephews, of course, all of the students that you work with on the various campuses that you have been on and people who are following you now. You know what I'm saying? You are an encouragement to them even as an educator. Now, I'm wondering, are you also into TikTok? You do that too?
Well, Jayla got me to do it. Like I had to set one up so I could do it with her because she wanted me to do a video with her. I had to actually set up the account that day so that we could do that video.
Yeah.
Now, Martez, first single, super banging, but you're alluding to a future EP, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, tell us about the EP, when it's dropping, any more collabs. Tell us a little bit about the EP.
Yes, so I am super excited about this EP. It will be released first quarter of 2021.
Okay.
We're looking at February. I really, if I could, I would drop it today. But we're looking at February. We do have some other collaborations. Sean Scales is another gospel artist. He is on a song called "Go" with me, and it is bananas.
Wow.
It is bananas. So I'm really excited about that. And then I just finished laying down my vocals for the last track, "Power."
Okay.
And this is going to be a collaboration on the reprise of it. Her name is Jennifer Johns.
Mm-hmm.
She's an amazing vocalist as well. She is, I mean, I can't even begin to describe her anointing and her charisma and she just exudes just this aura that's just infectious. So I'm just really excited about that.
So the EP is done. Is it just getting mastered right now, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Jennifer is finishing up her vocals, and we're ready to mix and master, and that's it.
Do you have a name for the EP yet?
That is, I've been toying with that. Like that is, and it goes back to me being so meticulous about details. I've been going through names after name after name after name, like, but really and truly, like the titles themselves speak to me. And then the order in which we're going to place them. Power is going first, and then it'll be Go, and then my stuff. So it came to me that I have the power to go get my stuff. It is the order of the songs, but I'm still trying to decide if I want the EP to be Power or if I want it to be my stuff. So we're trying to, I don't know. What do y'all think?
We're all, I mean, my producer is saying my stuff. I kind of like Power because that's where you get your stuff from the higher power. I don't know. I think either way it goes. What about you, Evangel?
Hey, you might even consider an acronym like you did for your book.
Right.
Hey, you never know. You never know.
Yes.
Or what you said, Power to get, I mean, the whole, everything works too.
Yeah, the way he stringed it all together like that.
Yeah. But February, we're looking for a February release.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes. Keep putting that in the atmosphere.
Okay.
So that my team won't make me hold it any longer.
Wow. Well, we are so thankful again to have had the opportunity to interview with you, Martez. And I want you to tell everybody how they can follow you and where they can find you or how they can connect with you.
Absolutely. On all social media platforms, you can find me at Martez, Martez Gerard. So very easy, Martez Gerard on everything. That's Facebook, that's Twitter, that's Instagram, that's TikTok. That's my website, martezgerard.com. That's my email address, martezgerard@gmail.com. Everything is Martez Gerard.
Yes, and you all also check out his product store also on his website.
Yes, do that, please.
Yes, what else you got on there besides T-shirts?
I have my T-shirts and I have my book.
Okay, and your book also. We
Yes.
do want to encourage everybody to check out that book, Soar, as well.
Yeah, and will there be a pre-sale like on iTunes for the EP?
I did one for the single, and we're looking to do the same thing. So yes. So we've got to get all of that solidified. I want to go ahead and finish, like I was saying, get this last track done, and then we can go ahead and solidify those dates, just so we don't have any, bumps in the road and have to go back and readjust and change dates and do things of that nature. I want to do it right the first time. So
right. Yo, Martez, before we go, I just want to say thank you very much for doing an interview with us, for blessing us with dope music. We're so excited for your upcoming EP, and also thank you for being an educator. Me as a parent, trying to help my kids doing distance learning, you know what I'm saying? I had nothing but love and respect for educators, but now it's like a whole nother level, you know what I'm saying, during this pandemic. But thank you for everything. Right, Evangel?
Yes, we do want to thank you, sir. And we just, again, we're so happy and excited for you. And what's on the horizon for you as an indie artist also. We're looking forward to this EP when it drops. Please don't hesitate to make sure we get a copy of it as well.
Of course.
And
Of
we
course.
want to definitely catch up with you again when you get ready to hit the road and start to really promote this physically. We don't exactly know what 2021 is going to look like with this vaccination that's taking place. Everybody's still kind of leery about getting vaccinated right away. We kind of want to see what's going to happen. But when you do hit the road and start promoting it, we just pray that we'll have an opportunity to see you come here to the sunny coast of Southern California live and in concert as well.
I'm excited. Yes. I'm ready to come. I'm ready to travel. It's
Awesome.
been really tough, just not being able to fly and, do all of those things as normal. But I'm looking forward to it. And I'm so honored and grateful for you all having me on your show today. It's been a blast. You all are amazing. And thank you so much for what you do for supporting indie artists and making sure that the message of God's love and God's grace is spread to the masses.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And what we want you to do is you go ahead and introduce this hot, hot song that our listeners are about to hear.
Let's get it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to present to some and introduce to others my very first single as an independent artist entitled My Stuff, featuring Carrie the Dreamer.
Yes, right here on GODRadio1.com.